of my position. Cam is my partner. I'm not his artist. I was the CEO of Diplomats. I made Diplomats with him. I was with him for every bit of his journey. My credit for a bunch of I do in this industry. What say love hop? They supposed to say, man, the creator and founder, Jim Jones. Hey, I made the name Love of Hip Hop. That's my name. They didn't make that name. I didn't know that. Her? Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You wanna go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
This is Jim Jones, a man who, depending on when you catch him, talks like he's the mastermind behind every major move in the game. He loves to brag that he built love and hip-hop from the ground up, claiming he was the one who started the entire wave. He says his music catalog outshines everybody's and that he's either the muscle, the brain, or the teacher behind the whole scene. But the people who really came up with him, they're saying his version doesn't match the truth. Industry insiders, even folks who used to be tight with him, have been calling him out for years, saying he's been running with those stories for almost 2 decades straight. Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin been pushing the same story forever, that love and hip-hop was Jim's vision, his creation, his baby. They've been saying the show was built around their relationship.
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. I got 100 on me now. I got like 40, 50 on me.
Yeah, that's strong.
It's right. I'm gonna get this right now. Right now. Anyone you right now. And it ain't a money thing, but this is here. You heard? If you want to get busy, is the money on the line. Any one of y'all from my era.
And Jim's even claimed he came up with the whole concept himself. But once you start digging past what he says and look at the real receipts, the truth hits hard. Turns out, Mona Scott Young is the one who's officially credited as the creator and executive producer, not Jim. Her name's the one on the contracts, the trade reports, and every single official credit out there. Jim and Chrissy weren't the masterminds. They were just cast members who happened to be part of the story. Sure, maybe Jim threw out a random idea or two, but let's keep it real. There's a huge difference between tossing a thought in a room and actually building one of the most successful reality TV franchises of the 2010s. What a twist. Claiming you created love and hip-hop when your name doesn't even show up in the credits isn't confidence, that's pure delusion. And it doesn't stop there. Jim's been pushing this whole image of being Harlem's finest, born and bred. But the second the camera's on him, that story starts falling apart fast. His relationship with Chrissy has been a roller coaster for years. Breakups, makeups, quick reunions, and then boom, more chaos. One major reason for the tension, Jim once claimed he made Dipset.
I never get my credit for a bunch of I do in this industry. What say love hop? They supposed to say, man, the creator and founder, Jim Jones. Hey, I made the name Love of Hip Hop. That's my name. They didn't make that name. I didn't know that. Her?
Camron wasn't having that at all. And that's when he started peeling back the layers on Jim's past. And what came out shocked a lot of people. Camron straight up said Jim wasn't really from Harlem like that. He was from the Bronx. His only Harlem tie came from his grandma who lived there, which meant Jim would just come around every now and then. Cam made it crystal clear they didn't grow up together. So all those stories Jim tells about being raised in Harlem alongside Cam, according to Camron, none of that ever happened. The timeline just doesn't add up. Cam also explained how Jim even managed to get close to the crew in the first place. Back in those early days, Cam, Mace, Big L, Bloodshed, and Herb McGruff were already heating up the streets. Everybody knew they were next up to land a record deal. Their freestyles had the whole city buzzing like crazy. Jim heard those tapes and wanted to be part of the movement so bad. After his grandmother passed, Jim started letting the crew chill at his spot, offering his place as a hangout zone for Cam and them. Truth is, they didn't need a place to crash, but Jim kept inviting them, showing love, trying to fit in wherever he could. It was his way of getting closer to the circle that already had Harlem on fire. Eventually, the crew started pulling up to Jim's spot from time to time. Cam said they'd sometimes use Jim's crib just to chill, kick it, maybe bring a few girls through. Basically just a free hangout zone.
You are a guardian angel and designer. What the is you talking about, man? You are from the Bronx, bro. You are not from Harlem. Why do you keep thinking that you are from Harlem, bro? You are not from Harlem. I did not grow up with you, man. I did not grow up with you.
But Cam made one thing super clear. They never needed Jim's place like that. To Cam, Jim was never part of their tight inner circle, not even close. He described Jim more like a fan who hung around the edges, always trying to get in where he could fit in, desperate to be part of something bigger. And that's not all. Cam also dropped a little history bomb, reminding everyone that it was actually Mace who taught Jim how to rap. Jim didn't come up spitting bars with the original crew. He hopped in way later, once everything was already popping off. He wasn't part of Harlem's real rap foundation from the start. He slid in when things were already buzzing and hot. And to top it off, Jim once tried flexing money on Cam, trying to make it look like he was doing better, but it totally backfired and left him embarrassed all over again. Then came Jim Jones's latest headline-making move.
You heard our freestyles, and you came up to me one day when I was chilling in front of the house. You said, and this word to my dead mother, yo, man, I heard the freestyles. Y'all killing shit. Yo, you know my grandmother died. If y'all want to come by and just hang out, y'all, all right, Joe Mo, thanks. It didn't really make sense at the time because we like, yo, man, where's Joe Mo inviting us to his house for? Even though he cool. But it didn't make sense to be going to Joe Mo house.
He claimed he's a better rapper than Nas. Yeah, you heard that right. He seriously went on record saying he could rap circles on anybody from his era, even challenging hip-hop legends to step in the booth with him. Now, friendly competition has always been part of hip-hop, but this one wasn't just about bars, it was about respect and reality. Because we're not talking about just any rapper here. This is Nas, the same Nas who won a Grammy in 2021, got honored at the 2024 Grand Master Awards, and is praised worldwide as one of the greatest lyricists to ever touch a mic. So when Jim said that, the backlash came quick. He later tried to walk it back, saying he didn't only mean lyrically, he meant he's a marketing genius too. But by then, the internet had already gone wild. So now Jim's switching lanes. But what's really going on here?
You act like on your couch. You was a fan. You begged us. You are a fan. A fan. We didn't grow up with you. I don't see you around none of this. You're not from none of that. You ever see somebody from Harlem try to act like they from Harlem so bad that you got to keep saying, I'm from Harlem? It's from Harlem, know who's from Harlem. You don't have to keep saying you from Harlem.
Is he seriously calling out hip-hop legends to battle him in the booth, or is he just saying wild stuff for attention to keep his name buzzing? He even said, me, Jim Jones, myself, pull up Nas's Billboard entries and pull up my Billboard entries, like he really thought he had a point to prove. But Jim didn't stop there. He went on claiming he's got more Billboard entries than Nas. And you already know how the internet moves. Once people pulled the receipts, that claim fell apart instantly. The facts were crystal clear. Jim Jones has a total of 9 entries on the Billboard 200. Only 3 of those ever cracked the top 10, and not a single one hit #1. Meanwhile, Nas, he's sitting comfortably with 27 Billboard 200 entries, 16 top 10 albums, and 6 #1s.
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. I got 100 on me now. I got like 40, 50 on me.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's right. You can come get this right now. Right now. Anyone you right now. And it ain't a money thing, but this is here. You heard? If you want to get busy, is the money on the line. Any one of y'all from my era.
That's a whole different level. The gap isn't just big, it's massive.
And just when it looked like things couldn't get any more awkward, Harlem itself started testing Jim's talk. People were asked a simple question: who's the better rapper, Nas or Jim Jones? The results were straight up humiliating. Every single person picked Nas without even thinking twice. Some didn't just choose Nas, they laughed at the idea that Jim could even be mentioned in the same sentence. It turned into a running joke in the streets. Even Math Hoffa ran the same question on his show, and the outcome was just as brutal. Once again, Nas took every vote with zero hesitation. And just when the dust started to settle, the story took another twist, the whole Jay-Z situation. For years, Jim tried to act like everything was cool between him and Hive. Around 2016, he was out here publicly saying there was no bad blood, that things were smooth between him and Roc Nation. But behind the scenes, the truth was a lot messier. No issues, no beef. That's what Jim kept saying at first. But later on, through different interviews, the truth started to slip out piece by piece.
Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard that if you wanna go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas' Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entry.
Jim admitted that deep down, he actually felt hurt, like he'd been left out of Roc Nation's big money moves and major business plays. He went from calling Jay-Z
He
his
allegedly
brother
offered
to
Wack
confessing
money
that
just
he
to get a
felt
pass on
snubbed and
Compton
pushed
so he could
aside.
move around safely.
Even Jay
Right
threw
after
some
that,
subtle
Jim
shade
hit
his way,
Instagram
and
posting.
fans caught it right away. The switch-up was wild. One minute, Jim's calling Hive family. The next, he's airing out how he got iced out of the circle. Hip-hop blogs and fans were quick to call him out for flip-flopping, saying the story changed every time he told it. It got to the point where it felt like even he couldn't keep up with the version he was selling anymore. And then came the whole Bloods general image Jim's been pushing for years. He's always portrayed himself as a top-ranking boss, the one calling the shots, giving orders, running the streets like a leader.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Nas.
Oh.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Okay.
Nas.
Nas or Jim Jones?
Nas.
All right. Nas or Jim Jones? Is that a serious question? Nas, bro. Jim Jones.
But when the 6ix9ine federal case blew up and those 9 Trey wiretaps hit the public, things got real messy. Jim's name popped up right there on those tapes. You can literally hear him talking about gang business. But when the indictments came down hard on everyone else, Jim's name was nowhere to be found. No arrest, no charges, nothing. And that did not go unnoticed.
Or Jim Jones?
Nas.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of Nas. I don't know what kind of question that is. Yeah, Nas.
Okay, all right, listen, hey.
Hey, you gotta switch something up, big dog. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Nas, come on. This is Nas, my.
Nas. What? That even a question?
Legal experts, hip-hop commentators, and even defense lawyers all started asking the same question. If Jim was really the general he claimed to be, how come he's the only one who walked away untouched? If the feds had enough evidence to bury the 9 Trey leaders for decades, how did Jim manage to stay clean through all of it? People started whispering heavy, saying there had to be a reason Jim didn't get caught up. And whatever that reason was, it didn't match the image he'd been selling all these years. The streets started side-eyeing him hard, wondering how a self-proclaimed shot caller avoided every single consequence. And the craziest part? Jim didn't stop there. He kept flexing that same gang credibility outside New York, like nothing ever happened. Jim used to claim he was fully accepted out in LA, like he had the green light to move in any hood, anytime, no questions asked. But then, Wack 100, who's never scared to call somebody out, came through and flipped that whole story upside down. According to Wack, Jim allegedly offered him money just to get a pass in Compton so he could move around safe without any issues.
Certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. He has no hardware on his wall. No classic album. So from a creative standpoint and the economic standpoint, he doesn't even register. So why do I have to answer that question, you know?
Not long after that, Jim hit Instagram hard, posting clips of himself hanging out in Compton parks, dapping people up, acting like he was good in every neighborhood. But to the folks who actually knew the backstory, those videos looked straight up staged. It felt more like a performance for the camera than real street validation. Even Face On Love jumped in, clowning Jim heavy, saying the closest he's ever been to a real blood set was watching the movie Colors. That one comment had social media cracking up. And then came Jim's so-called athlete era, which honestly might be just as wild as everything else he's claimed. He loves posting gym clips, especially those shadow boxing videos where he's trying to look like a legit fighter, swinging like he's ready for a pay-per-view bout. But man, the internet had no mercy. Instead of hyping him up, Twitter tore him apart. People started roasting everything. His form, his footwork, even those soft-looking punches. It turned into a full-blown meme fest. Timelines got flooded with clips of people zooming in on his stance, cracking jokes about his noodle arms and chicken legs. Even other rappers joined in on the fun, turning his boxing attempts into comedy gold. What Jim meant to be a flex ended up becoming another running joke stuck to his name. Every new clip he dropped just gave people more material to clown, proving once again that when it comes to social media, the internet never lets anything slide. But the fake flexes, that's not even the end of it. Jim's career has been haunted by more than just false claims. His beefs have been just as messy. And these aren't legendary rap battles you'd brag about. These are straight-up embarrassing moments he probably wishes could vanish forever.
I don't know why people think they city make them. Like, you don't know how much of a clown you look like in 2025 running back for a Compton stamp. He said, I'm going to go over here and pay these to go to the park. I'm not from Compton. I'm like, bro, I'm not from Compton. I don't give a what park you go to in Compton.
One of the wildest examples, his situation with Rod Diggs. Now, Rod Diggs wasn't some internet tough guy chasing clicks. He was really about that life. His record read like something straight out of a crime documentary. Drugs, armed robberies, and multiple serious charges tied to his name. This was someone the streets already knew wasn't to be played with. When the feds finally caught him, they didn't take any chances. They hit him with 3 life sentences plus 105 extra years just to make sure he'd never walk free again. That's how heavy his reputation was. So when Jim Jones crossed paths with a man like Rod Diggs, it was a dangerous move from the start. At that time, Rod was trying to switch lanes into music, recording tracks, linking up with artists like Shooter 93, and slowly starting to build some buzz in the hip-hop world. One day, fate put him and Jim in the same studio, and that's when things took a nasty turn fast.
He ain't never been on no blood set. Closest thing he been to a blood set is Colors. He ain't been on Pyro Street and Colors. He ain't been to Emerald Hills, Bunny Boys. He ain't been to Lincoln Park. He ain't been to none of them places and put in some work.
Jim's always had one rule in his studio: no street talk, no gang politics. He keeps his music life and street life separate, no matter what. But that day, Ra worked in talking heavy, dropping gang stories, blood talk, and street politics right in the middle of the session. Most people in the room thought it was just regular bravado, typical street energy, but Jim wasn't having it at all. Witnesses say Jim suddenly snapped, barking, "Man, get out of here with that blood talk." That's when the tension hit the roof. At first, Ra was stunned. Nobody usually spoke to him like that. This was Rod Diggs, a name that carried real street weight, the kind of person even tough guys kept their distance from. You could feel the energy in the room shift instantly. What started as a normal studio session turned into a moment that had everyone frozen, wondering what was about to go down next. Rod Diggs couldn't believe Jim had just talked to him like that. The whole room froze. So he stepped right back to check Jim, asking if he really meant what he said. And Jim, he didn't back down one bit. He doubled down and repeated himself, dismissing Rod right there in front of everybody like it was nothing. That's when the whole energy in the studio flipped in an instant. What started tense turned explosive. Voices got louder, words started flying across the room, and people said it felt like the air got sucked straight out of the place. You could practically feel how close it was to turning deadly. One wrong move, and things would have gone left quick.
Diggs got 3 life sentences. You heard about this?
I actually seen it on, I think it was on your website yesterday, and I was like, and I feel bad.
Thankfully, a few cooler heads jumped in fast. People in the studio rushed to get between them before it got physical. But Ra wasn't the type to just walk away quiet. He was heated. On his way out, he let that anger speak loud, smashing one of the studio's glass doors before storming off without looking back.
You'd think that would have been the end of it, but it was just getting started. Later that same night, Jim had a show booked at SO's Rendezvous, a known hotspot in the city. Everything started off smooth. The crowd was hyped, the music was blasting, and Jim was doing his thing on stage, full of confidence. Then suddenly, Rod Diggs walked in, and he didn't come solo. He rolled in deep, bringing a few of his guys with him, making sure everybody in that venue felt his presence the second he stepped through those doors. The DJ spotted him and instantly grabbed the mic, shouting, "Rod Diggs in the building," like a boss had just walked in. That one shout flipped the whole mood on its head. Witnesses said Jim's face said everything. One minute he looked calm and in control, and the next it was like he'd just seen a ghost. Whatever confidence he had vanished right there on stage. He didn't wait to see what Ra was plotting. He dipped out fast, leaving the club before anything could even go down. Lucky for Jim, nothing popped off that night, at least not in public. But behind the scenes, it was way more serious than people realized. That confrontation didn't just end at the door. It left tension lingering heavy in the air, and everyone knew things between Jim and Ra were far from over. Word around the streets was that one of Ra's guys was literally waiting for the signal, just one nod to take things to the next level. If Ra had given that green light, that night could have ended in a whole different way for Jim Jones. But surprisingly, Ra held back. No order was given, and that right there was the only reason Jim walked out untouched. He let him live to tell the story, which shocked everybody. This was a man known for never letting disrespect slide, a dude feared across the city because he always handled problems with violence. So why did Jim get a pass? That's what had everyone scratching their heads. People close to the story had their own theories. Some said that after that studio blow-up, Jim finally realized who he was really dealing with. Maybe someone pulled him aside and broke it down, explaining Ra's real background, his charges, his reputation, his entire street resume. Because if Jim didn't know before, he definitely knew after that day. And once that sank in, Jim wasn't talking tough anymore. That whole situation humbled him quick. But that wasn't the end of his drama, not even close. Then came the fallout with Max B, one of the most personal and bitter beefs Jim's ever been part of. What made it sting so bad is that these two were family once upon a time. Max wasn't just another rapper in Jim's crew. He was his ghostwriter, his right-hand man in the studio, and one of the key players in Jim's whole Bird Gang movement. They moved like brothers, side by side, building hits and chasing success together. But when things fell apart, they fell hard. The real break came when Max caught a heavy case, a murder charge that would eventually have him serving serious time behind bars. And that's when everything snapped. From Max's side, it felt like betrayal. He said when things got dark, Jim disappeared. He felt abandoned at the exact moment when loyalty was supposed to mean everything. In his eyes, Jim turned his back right when the world closed in, leaving him to face the storm alone. That betrayal cut deep, and once the bond broke, there was no fixing it. What used to be brotherhood turned into one of hip-hop's coldest rivalries, and that was a turning point that would haunt Jim Jones for years to come. The friendship, the music, the respect, all of it gone in flames. What followed turned into one of New York's ugliest rap feuds, the kind that had the whole city talking. Max B wasn't holding back at all. He dropped a mixtape with a chilling cover, tombstones lined up, and one of them read, "Here lies Millie Jim Jones." That alone set the tone. Then came the infamous diss track, "She Touched It" in Miami, where Max claimed he'd been with Jim's longtime partner, Chrissy Lampkin. That record set the streets on fire, because dissing Jim was one thing, but dragging Chrissy into it made it deeply personal.
So Max B, now you, my friend, you had a falling out with Jim Jones, right?
Yeah, we had our mutual differences.
As far as that paperwork goes,
we don't do paperwork no more. There's no such thing as paperwork. Max, never have another project. There's no negotiation. I don't want to be friends. I don't care about no negotiation because I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
From that moment on, it wasn't just music beef, it was war. After that, things didn't just stay on wax, they got physical. According to Max, one night he ran into Jim out in the streets, and that's when everything popped off. He said Jim tried to box his car in, like he was setting up a face-to-face showdown, but Max wasn't going for it. He claimed he rammed straight into Jim's Bentley just to break free, and in the middle of the chaos, he socked Jim right in the face. Even while locked up and serving serious time, Max never fully let the beef consume him.
Over the years, he hinted that he was ready to move past it, saying he'd even be down to squash things if the opportunity came up. But Jim, he's always played it cool, brushing it off like it was nothing. In interviews, he talks about Max like he barely remembers it, pretending the whole thing was ancient history. Then came the twist nobody expected. In a recent interview, Jim finally admitted he did Max dirty. That little confession flipped the narrative completely because fans had suspected it for years. Hearing him finally own up to it just confirmed what people had been whispering about all along. That wasn't the only feud keeping Jim's name spinning in drama, because here comes 50 Cent. Let's be real, 50's name shows up in almost every major rap feud out there, but his tension with Jim Jones goes way back, all the way to 2007. In that era, Dipset was already cracking at the seams. Camron and Jim weren't seeing eye to eye, and the crew wasn't as tight as before. And 50, being the ultimate instigator, he saw the perfect opening. He started poking the fire, dropping slick comments and stirring the pot just enough to get both sides heated. From there, it turned into another chapter of chaos, one that showed just how fast loyalty can flip. Egos, fame, and pride get mixed into the game. 50 Cent, or Boo Boo as he's known from his old days, made his move right in the middle of that Dipset chaos. He invited Jim to perform at one of his shows, but make no mistake, it wasn't a friendly invite. Years later, 50 actually admitted the truth. It was all strategic. He wasn't trying to unite anybody. He was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when balling took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. And I just looked and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Then you gotta watch and see how he was talking. And then when you see, he like, oh, you really like that. Give me that.
His whole plan was to stir the pot, expose the cracks inside Dipset, and sit back laughing while Jim's first big solo hit had him feeling on top of the world. It was mind games, pure and simple. Eventually, Jim tried to fire back during an interview with Justin LeBoy, flipping the energy and calling out both 50 and Camron in one shot. He said, both of them paused though. Get off my... Yeah, there's only space on there for baby girl, man. It was meant to sound slick and confident, but of course, 50 wasn't letting that slide. Not in 50 Cent's world. He took things way further, doing what only 50 Cent can do, turning a music rivalry straight up street gossip. When the 6ix9ine federal trial was going down,
both of them. Pause though, get off my... There's only space on there for baby girl, man.
50 pulled up actual court transcripts where Jim's name appeared under Individual 1. He didn't say it outright, but he didn't have to. The way he framed it had people instantly thinking Jim might have been playing both sides, maybe even cooperating with the feds.
That move was ruthless. It planted major doubt about Jim's street credibility. And once 50 lit that flame, the internet ran wild with it. Social media blew up. Everybody had an opinion. Everyone was dissecting those transcripts. And suddenly, Jim's real one image didn't seem so untouchable anymore. In hip-hop culture, being linked to anything that sounds like snitching is the worst kind of rumor you can have floating around. And 50 knew exactly what he was doing. From that moment on, people started looking at Jim sideways, wondering what was really true and what was just street talk. And of course, 50 didn't stop there. He kept clowning Jim every single chance he got. Whether it was interviews, social media posts, or random comments, he stayed poking fun, keeping Jim's name tied to the controversy.
This in the Breakfast Club. Jimmy popping all that bullshit. I just seen Jimmy talking about we Gucci boo boo. He in the Gucci store. Talking about we Gucci boo boo. Like King they was going you up. Jimmy, they was like, Marita Monero. Coca-Cola. Pedro.
It'd be money in case they wanted to know. Tell them we Gucci. we Gucci, boo-boo.
So when the talk of a potential versus battle between the two came up, Jim shut that down instantly. He didn't even entertain the idea. And honestly, with all that history between them, who could blame him? Jim's response was cold and straight to the point. I don't want to do nothing with that sucker.
No hesitation, no filter. But then came the true life situation, and this wasn't rap talk or online trolling. This was real-life drama with street-level consequences. What went down next turned into one of the darkest and most dangerous chapters in Jim Jones's entire career. At first, Jim and True Life weren't even enemies. They were actually cool. True Life, along with JoJo Capone, was part of the crew that provided protection for Jim and Dipset whenever things got tense in New York. These were the guys out there risking it all, standing front line to make sure nothing went left when situations got heated. But over time, the love started to fade. True Life and JoJo Capone began to feel like they weren't getting the respect or the money they deserved for putting their necks on the line. From their side, they were risking everything, but Jim wasn't showing enough appreciation or breaking bread the way they expected. That's when the tension hit its breaking point.
Jimmy Neutron, you try to say this piece don't exist? There's only one who do this. Step the diamond game up, man. You're not balling. It look better on camera. I'm seeing it right there. Look, put the game. It look better on camera. Garbage.
Out of nowhere, True Life made his move. He snatched Jim's Bird Gang chain, and instead of keeping it on the low, he turned it into public humiliation. He started flaunting the chain in interviews, holding it up like a trophy, laughing into the camera, and basically saying Jim wasn't who he claimed to be. In the streets, that kind of move cuts deep. It's never just about jewelry. It's about respect, pride, and power. When somebody takes your chain and mocks you with it, they're not just clowning your look, they're attacking your entire image. And watching True Life parade around with that Bird Gang chain crushed Jim's credibility, especially at a time when people were already questioning how real his street background really was. Jim tried to spin the story by going on Hot 97 to tell his side. That only made things worse. More he talked, more people felt like he was dodging accountability. Instead of clearing his name, it made the situation look even messier. What started as business tension turned into full-blown beef that blurred the line between music and the streets. A reminder that when egos and pride collide in hip-hop, things can spiral out of control real fast. True Life felt even more disrespected after hearing how Jim was talking on the radio. And from that moment on, their beef got darker, deeper, and a whole lot more dangerous. That bad blood between Jim and True Life could have easily exploded into something catastrophic. The only reason it ever cooled down was because True Life ended up getting locked up on an unrelated case. Prison basically hit pause on a situation that was seconds away from turning deadly. But even though time passed, that memory never really faded. To this day, Jim barely speaks on it, probably because it's one of those L's that just doesn't wash off no matter how many years go by. The whole ordeal still hangs over his legacy like a shadow he can't escape.
He allegedly offered
When
whack
you zoom
money
out
just
and
to
look
get
at
a
the bigger
pass in
picture,
Compton
it's
so he could
honestly
move around
wild
safely.
how many hits
Right
Jim's
after that,
taken over
Jim
the
hit
years.
Instagram
Not just
posting.
musically, personally. From public fallouts and messy feuds to the countless stories people keep catching him in. It's like the chaos never ends. Wherever Jim goes, drama seems to follow just a few steps behind. The truth is, the industry doesn't look at Jim Jones like a legend anymore. They see him as a walking headline. A man who built an image of strength, loyalty, and success, only for that same image to flip back on him. What once made him seem untouchable now makes him the center of every controversy. Instead of earning respect, more and more people just clown him for the madness that keeps orbiting around his name. Every move he makes turns into a new viral story, and at this point, his reputation feels bigger than his music ever was. If you made it this far, salute. You've seen just how deep the story of Jim Jones really runs. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like button, drop a comment, and share this video with someone who loves real hip-hop stories. Stay tuned, because there's plenty more truth coming your way in the next video.